Justin from Creator Wizard, stoked to be back here for another Friday live stream. Have a very, very special guest today. We are going to be talking all about how to achieve your creator goals. So without further ado, let's get this thing started. Let's pull in Brissett in the house.
Hey everybody, happy Friday.
What's going on, D? You are no longer in the chat. You are on the screen. How does that feel? I think probably.
I feel like I've lived on the screen through the chat.
Yeah. I know, seriously. It's crazy though, honestly, because I feel like there's quite a few people, but like you in particular, you've been there from the bitter beginning. I feel like of when I started doing the live streams. So to see your transformation and everything that you've accomplished over the last year or year plus has been incredible. Hannity, thanks for tuning in to the chat. Hannity, what's going on? Let's just kick things off. Like, tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get started as a creator? Give us your story.
So I have been around on YouTube I actually just celebrated my 6-year anniversary, and
Whoa.
I started off sharing, like literally 2 days ago. Insane. And I started out sharing product reviews for babies and moms. I was just postpartum. I had my first daughter, and I worked a lot with kids previously to having my own. So I just had a lot of experience with products, and I thought, I'm going to share product reviews so I can help people find products that they're actually going to like. And I did that for a while. I dabbled into like mommy and lifestyle. I tried vlogging. I tried so many different things. And Justin, what you don't know is that I was ready to quit. I was ready to walk away from it all because I felt like I kept giving and I wasn't getting as much as I was putting into it. And then that's when I ran into Creator Wizard. And I swear to you guys, like, yes, I ran into Creator Wizard and these lives, and I tuned into the lives. Justin said it at the beginning. I've been watching the lives all the time. Every week that I watched a live, I left learning so much that it helped me to kickstart a new direction in my career, which was to then just try something different. You know, I'm not motherhood, I'm not lifestyle. That is a niche that is so overpopulated, and I'm just not getting in. It's not working. I then realized I need to do something else. And then that's when I eventually ran into just sharing my shopping adventures. And now this year I have specifically niched down to just sharing like Costco videos, whether it's shopping or hauls, product reviews, recipes, whatever it is, anything under the sun, Costco related. I'm more focused into that now. And since I've done that, I can't even begin to start explaining the growth and just the clear path that I needed to be on. And now I wake up every day and I feel like every day I'm doing exactly what I was supposed to do. And it makes me so happy. And the happier I am creating content, the better the results are. It's like a no-brainer thing, but like it's been the unlock for me.
Talk about that, because I feel like there's so much fear and uncertainty associated with picking a niche and doubling down. Everyone here, oh, pick a niche, right? But I don't know, like one of the things that I've heard from a lot of creators is just that they're concerned that their number of opportunities will go down when they pick a niche because they're excluding, like either certain audiences that would potentially want to follow them or excluding potential brands that would want to partner with them. So talk me through, before you talk about where you're at now, talk me through the fear or like the mindset that you had prior to doing that.
The fear was so real. As I told you, I was ready to quit. And that's the type of fear that's like stifling. It'll hold you down and just pretty much keep you still. Like you have no room to move because you're stopping yourself from growing. And so Justin has told me before I need to niche down. It was his advice. Justin gives amazing advice, but it's not all the time I really believe it's going to work, because I figured like if I niche down, I'm losing so many opportunities. Like I'm trying to gain and you're telling me I should take away. And then I realized there's no harm in trying, right? Like Justin says all the time, like if you don't take your shots, you miss like all the shots that you don't take. So that was like the one thing. I didn't want to niche to a specific thing because I was so scared I was going to lose so much more than I would gain. But the results have been complete night and day to that, So wow. The fear of not taking that risk is what's really going to hold you down.
And so, what were some of the first decisions? Like, so how did you pick a niche? Like, how did you know, like, oh, okay, I'm going to like do Costco, or I'm going to do, how is it? Because you have like everyone. I think that's a struggle with a lot of people is like they like a lot of things. It's like, so how do I pick one of them? It's
Yeah.
like I want to talk about all these things. So it's like, how do I
Yeah.
know which one is the right one?
I feel like personally, we always feel like we're so much more than one thing. But in this situation, when you're looking at growth, you can't be a million things in one to grow. You have to be like one specific thing so you can work really hard at it and actually see the results. So think of it as like a coin jar, right? Like if you put a coin in here and another one there, eventually it's going to lead up to something, right? But you wouldn't necessarily pour it all in at one time. But what if there was a way to just take that chance anyway? You don't know if any more coins will fall in, but just start with putting the coin in. Feed that and see what happens then. And so what my strategy has been is to actually study and understand my analytics. And people say that all the time, but I think the one thing that people forget to mention is that in order to have analytics to study, you need to be consistent. So you have to be consistent so you have analytics to study so you can know what to do next. So I knew Costco was my direction because I posted videos every single week, and some videos got 50 views, 100 views, but my Costco videos always had thousands of views and the most engagement. So rather than keeping that as a once a month thing or whenever I can, because the problem was I was kind of like swimming in the ocean of being a creator, but like I didn't know how to swim. So
Yeah.
once I learned like what path I want to go on, it just became so much easier. And it all
Mm,
starts with being that consistent person that you need to be so you can give yourself the data to work smarter. You can't get data that doesn't exist,
yeah.
period. So you have to put in that work. And that's how I knew. And since then, I don't know, it's been amazing.
It's incredible. So like, what would you say is like, like, could you ever have anticipated? Like, so tell us a little bit, like, where are you at? Like, what kind of like, what are you most proud of in terms of like the success that you've had? Is it the views? Is it the opportunities? Is it just like, what are all of it? Like what?
Initially, I thought my most proudest moment would be the views, but to be honest, the views don't mean that much to me right now. My most prized possession that I have working for me is the relationship I've built with my audience.
Mm,
That is unbreakable. That is untouchable. That is so unique that a viewer can watch my video and like 5 other competitive videos. How many of those videos are you going to feel like you went shopping with a friend? It won't be all 5. And that's what you get with me. So I put in the time to kind of like harness that relationship and just feed it and make it grow. And the stronger my relationship got with my audience, the more serious brands started taking me and the better my success became overall. But it all started with,
mhm.
who do I want to watch me? What can I do to make sure that they're still there? And
Yeah.
how can I make sure I'm listening to what they want? That way, when I'm working, I'm giving them what they want and I'm getting what I want in return. So it's a win. It's a win for myself. It's a win for the brands that I choose to work with. And then it's a win for my audience. Like in this
Mm,
situation, everyone wins. And that's the recipe that you have to try to find for your own journey. How can I make
yeah.
everyone win?
It's a perfect segue into this first thing that I want to talk about because so many creators are very, very fixated on audience growth. They think that that's like, okay, this year I'm just going to grow my audience. And basically, like, once that happens, the opportunities will come. I think that's what a lot of people think is like, I get this many, I get to 10,000 followers or I get to 50,000. Everyone makes up these arbitrary numbers in their heads of like what they need to get to before brands will like take them seriously or my inbox will be flooded with opportunities. But what I love hearing about what you're saying is that focusing on your audience. Yes, it's one thing to focus on audience growth, but it's really about the intimacy of the connection that you have with them. Because once you do that and brands really start to understand that connection, then the opportunities will come. And it's not about a follower number, right?
No.
Yeah. Yeah. It's super, super interesting. And so like like when you were thinking about sponsorships or working with brands and things like that when prior to making this niching down and finding this success, how did you think about like brands would play into your business then versus now?
Initially, I literally thought that if I just made videos, that money would just fall from the sky and just arrive. I never understood how to even get to the point of getting a sponsorship. And it's not because I didn't have any experience working with brands. I did have experience working with brands. However, I was working for free because I didn't know all the value that I bring and how to convert that into something that's going to pay you, right? So that was kind of like my turning point in terms of just figuring all of that out, and then everything just kind of plays in together afterwards. It's one of those simple things that you can do to just have a better payoff in the end.
Right. And like talk about like your confidence levels too, because I think that's another thing that I hear about. I mean, anyone who knows you, D, like you are like a powerhouse. Like you have no fear. Like you'll get on the phone with anyone, you'll talk to anyone. Like I think that's one thing that holds a lot of creators back, is that especially when they're starting to work with brands initially, it's like, I don't know, I just don't want to say the wrong thing, and I don't want to like ruin this opportunity or screw it up and all this
Yeah.
stuff. So like, how did you get that confidence when you didn't have a lot of experience initially?
The confidence factor is probably the hardest thing to unlock, but you have to really understand and know like what is your value proposition. Whether you're working with a brand or a business or any type of business transaction, there needs to be value in there that everyone has to collectively see in order for the agreement to move forward. So for me, it was finding out what type of value can I offer? You know, there was a point where if someone asked me, like, what do you do? I didn't know what to say about what I did because I kind of know, but I don't know enough to just spit it off the top of my tongue. You know, like it's supposed to roll off naturally. And being able to practice that, being able to understand what you do, why you do it, and why you love to do what you do, it makes it so much easier to be confident in yourself because when people ask you questions, which they will, you have an automatic answer that you fully believe in. And believe it or not, people know body language, they know the tone of your voice, they know so many things about what you're saying besides the words that you're saying on its own. So if you can't say, hey, my name is Dee, I help busy families find products they're gonna love, and just say it off the top of your tongue, it's going to be really hard for anyone to believe that what you're saying is true and you don't seem confident. You say that you are, but if you can't be able to roll that off the top of your tongue and be able to understand what your values are and what you can bring to the table, it's going to be so hard to share that confidence with other people. So it all starts with really just believing in yourself, but you have to know like who you are though, right? Like
Yeah.
how can you believe it? Would you bet on yourself if you didn't know who you were? Like,
Mm.
probably not.
I the
And that's what you have to find.
what I love about that is that you have it's like it's almost like an elevator pitch if you were a business, right? It's like, picture yourself at a cocktail party or like someone, oh, like, what do you do? And it's you like for you to be able to like say it. I remember early on when April and I were on YouTube, like people would ask what we would do. Same thing. Early on, we were embarrassed. We were just like, oh, I don't know,
Yeah.
we're in advertising or whatever, right? Like we would, I don't remember what we said. Eventually we found our way to like being confident about it and talking about it with no hesitation. But like to your point, like sitting down and thinking like, what would I say or what should I say when I'm, obviously it's different if like someone asks you at a cocktail party versus like a brand and you can like give your pitch
Yeah.
about like what you're doing. But I think that is a valuable exercise to sit down and really think about, what is my angle, what is my positioning, who am I, who do I serve, like that. Like I've actually been talking with quite a few creators about this idea, which is that like understanding the psychographics of your audience is actually a little bit more important than the demographics, because yes, like the ages and the genders and where they live and all that stuff is important, but like really what makes your audience tick, what keeps them up at night, what are their problems, what store, what stores do they shop at, what food do they eat, what like what movies do they watch. Like it sounds like a silly exercise, but if you really sit and
Yeah.
meditate on that idea, it's so much easier to figure out not only content that you can create to help that audience, but also the brands that you should be working with and helping them understand like, hey, the product that you have will be perfect for my audience. Here's why. Right. And so I really love that. One question I have for you is like what, like a lot of creators, I think they feel stuck with these low paying sponsorships, right? So
Yeah.
maybe they are working with brands and like it's, they are, maybe they're on the brand deal platforms and they apply and they get them, but it's always like not a ton of money. It's money, it's meaningful, it pays a bill, but it's not super
Mhm.
meaningful. How do they actually get, they're always wondering, like, how do you get out of that and like help brands understand your worth and pay you more? How did you think through that transition for you to kind of start getting into some of these higher paying deals?
Yeah, the way that I thought through all of that is by first understanding that if I'm going to be the creator that I want to be, I have to understand that I'm a brand and I'm responsible for representing myself as a brand, right? So if I really want things to work out, I really have to put myself in a brand perspective. Like I have to represent myself and I have to make sure that I'm doing all the things that I need to do to make sure that when I'm ready to discuss things like numbers, that they'll understand why these numbers make sense. Now, I get low offers all the time. I still get low offers, and I'll probably always get low offers. The point is, brands, they don't want to spend a lot of money. And if you want them to spend a little bit more money, you're going to have to explain to them and show them and kind of walk them through how investing this money is something that's going to help for all the parties involved. And it all starts with understanding who you are, what you can bring to the table. They're going to offer you low numbers and it's not going to be the end of the day. And my secret for never taking it personal and remaining the business person that I am is for each opportunity I have with a brand, whether it's like through DMs, whether it's my inbox, each interaction is research. And if you can't understand that your job as a creator is to research as much as you create content, then you're creating content the wrong way. If you're not putting in research, you're not doing the right thing because you're just doing your own thing and not what you really need to do, which is why, like, again, those analytics, right? So, all the interactions I get with these lowball offers, it's research. I read back on those conversations and I see what did I say that I could have said differently?
Mm,
What did they say that I didn't understand? What did they say that was something I've seen a common denominator in like all the conversations I've had? If you're not researching all of those experiences, you've wasted your time because
mm,
that time you invested is supposed to be time spent that can help you later on. That's how you work smarter. That's how you become a better creator. You
man.
have to remember that this is a business. You're a business person. This is a business transaction. And this is research. Each time I talk to you, I've learned something new. Each
Yeah.
time you learn something new, you deserve a little bit more. You're smarter than you were last week or the day before or last month, right? So just
100%.
it's all research. Like you need to understand that your job also entails research.
Yeah, I my YouTube video that I just released this week was called "How to Survive Your First Negotiation," and point number one, D, was research, right? And it's exactly right because how much more prepared do you think you're going to be if you do all this, googling, research, understand what the business climate is for this brand, what are their competitors, what are they facing, where are they selling their products, right? How big is their marketing team? Looking at their campaigns from the last 12 months, like just understanding like generally where are they at as a business and trying to understand how much more like powerful do you think that is when you hop on a phone or a call or a Zoom with the brand and you have all this information like, oh, I saw this article that you were mentioned in a couple weeks ago. They're going to be like, oh, like, wow, this person's done their research. Like immediately you establish a rapport because it's like you're not just another creator. And so not only should you be researching the brand, but like, yeah, internally analyzing your own performance and how you're interacting with brands and things like that. All of this stuff matters. I think so many creators think that they don't have control over these conversations that they're having with brands, and you absolutely do. At the end of the day, you have control. Yes, there's something you don't have control over whether the brand chooses to like pay you,
Ghost you.
yeah, ghost you or whatever. You don't have control over that, but like there are lots of things that you can do to improve your position and improve the vocabulary that you're using, and et cetera, et cetera. So some gems here. We're dropping it in the chat. Rewired for Joy. Thank you so much for tuning in. Facebook user for I have to pull up the Facebook because it doesn't tell me the name of the people watching on Facebook. So thank you for watching. Live Productions Tips and Tools. Fernanda Hannity. Thank you everyone for tuning in today. Excited to be talking about achieving your creator goals with D Brissett, my superstar alumni from my Brand Deal Wizard program. Y'all, I just want to take a quick pause here to say my mind is absolutely blown. D has been helping me out in the background, with all the preparations for the launch of Brand Deal Wizard. If you have been living under a rock, you may not know that the enrollment for my 5th cohort of Brand Deal Wizard is happening right now. And I'm honestly, I'm blown away with how many people have enrolled already, guys. It's nuts. It's capped at 50 creators. If you are interested in, learning how to find and negotiate your dream brand partnerships, so that you stop leaving thousands on the table, you're going to want to join. Go to branddealwizard.com. D is an alumni. Was it cohort 2, cohort 3? 3. D was in cohort 3. Give us just a quick little like gem drop about like what the mindset shift was like after participating for you.
After participating in the cohort, I realized that I'm way more valuable than I thought. So I was severely underpricing myself. I was severely undermining all my capabilities. And I just didn't know enough to feel like I knew what I had to do. But the course, I've done a review on the course in full detail, Justin, but like the course is one of those courses that you take now and you save yourself years of struggle. I kid you not. It's been less than a year since I've taken Brand Deal Wizard, and in less than a year, I'm at least 5 years ahead of where I thought I would be without it. And it's insane. You walk in not really knowing what you're doing, but you get so much knowledge that you can do like right now, if you wanted to. If you actually apply yourself and do all the things that you learn in the course, you have no way up but up. So it's really up to you. Like there's, even if you don't see the growth that you thought you know so much more. And if you can just figure out your strategy to get to that growth, that's still up to you. No one can make you grow but you. So you have to really just invest in that knowledge. You need to walk in knowing like, I'm ready to learn. I'm ready to transform my life. If you're ready to transform your life, what are you waiting for? Join the course. You're going to walk out 5 years ahead of everyone else who didn't join the course. And you're going to thank yourself for doing it then, because you're saving yourself years of struggle, literally years of struggle.
Fernanda in the chat, it's almost like you get more value the farther out you are from taking the course. Fernanda is also alumni. Thanks for tuning in today, Fernanda. And the one thing that we haven't really talked about much, but I'm really, really beyond excited about is that, get this, guys, D is going to be hosting office hours. For the first time ever, this is something new that we're trying for Brand Deal Wizard, is that there is going to be additional office hours sessions over each week during the course, and this is just going to be a forum for anyone who's participating to log into the Zoom, ask questions, hear from other creators. Tell us a little bit about what your plans for the office hours. I'm not going to be there, guys. I'm not here. D is running the show, so this is super exciting, something new we've never done. But yeah, tell us a little bit about how you're planning on running these things, D.
So office hours is going to be a space where you can go to get like the extra support that you need, whether it's support with figuring out your pitching strategy, whether it's you're lacking in confidence and you just want to be around other creators in a room that know what they're doing. You can learn from them, grow together. Office hours is going to be for you. The thing about the course is it's number one, amazing, obviously. The resources are there for you all the time afterwards. So even if you forget something, you can reference back and get the answers that you need. However, now you can talk with other creators, which is the hardest part about being a creator, is that it gets lonely when you're struggling because you have no place to go for that extra support. When you're at a loss for ideas, you just kind of feel stuck and you have to figure it out on your own. You want to be able to talk to other people who know what they're doing, but like you don't know who to talk to, or maybe you're not intimidated because you feel like you're not welcome to talk to them. There's so many things that stop us in our mind. This is going to be your time that you dedicate to yourself. You are going to hold yourself accountable, and the group is going to hold you accountable as well. You put in the time to get that extra support. You're going to walk out with value and goals that you didn't even know that you had, and you're going to learn how to reach them because you're learning from other like-minded creators who are there to uplift you, hype you up. Like when you leave, you're going to feel like, I've got this for like 2 days. When can we be back?
I love
That's
to
what
hear
you're going to
that.
get from the course. You're going to be able to get that connection, because that connection is everything, because you're going to get stuck along the journey. It's going to happen. No one doesn't get stuck. Even the pros get stuck, you guys. But you need to have your group of creators that are in it for the long run. They're in it to win, and they want to win with you instead of competing against you. That's what you want. That's what you're going to get in office hours. Sign up.
Yo.
Justin, I'll let you take over.
Was
It's gonna
that
be
was that I mean,
amazing.
that was quite the hype. Dee is the hype woman of the century for Brando Wizard. I mean, that no, seriously, I'm so excited to introduce this. This is, I really take seriously all the feedback that I get for every time I run the course. And this was one area that, people were talking about last time. It's just like, people really, really like the Q&As at the end of each, week. And so like,
Mhm.
I thought, how can we bring that like bring more of that into the session of like, connecting with people. Obviously there's a private community where people can chat and ask questions and stuff like that, but somehow it's different when you can like hop on a Zoom with other people and like ask
Yeah.
questions and stuff like that. So I'm super stoked to do this. Truey in the chat, Truey signed up for Brand Deal Wizard. So stoked to have you, Truey. And she's asking, when will these courses take place? Or I'm assuming you meant the office hours. So we do not have the schedule yet. We are going to be figuring all that out. We're going to send out some information to those of you who signed up, to like people, to sign up for slots and things like that. We're going to try to accommodate some different time zones and things like that, because we do have some people in the UK who join this time too. So I'm going to try and figure out the timing with that. So stay tuned on that, Drew. We're going to send out an email about that. Ashley in the chat. Ashley is also an alum of Brand Deal Wizard. She said, taking this course gives you the confidence to know you are learning from the best in the biz. Even the other creators you get to connect with will help get you to their next level. That's another thing, Dee. We were talking about that recently. Is like, it's just somehow different to be with other creators who take their businesses seriously. Sometimes people like, creators, I'm not throwing shade at all. Like sometimes, like that's extra side income. That's nice for them. They don't have any plans on quitting their 9-to-5 job. And there's nothing wrong with that. But it's like when you're surrounded by people who like really serious, like this is a goal. Like I'm going to grow this. I'm going to make a lot more money. It's somehow different than like being around other creators who maybe are considering it kind of a hobby, right?
Yeah, for sure. I think you really have to see yourself as a business. And I think once you really see yourself as a business and apply all the principles needed to have a successful business, everything else will fall into place. Like all the things that you do are going to be moves that make sense as opposed to moves that were a waste of time. I think the biggest struggle that most creators have is they spend too much time wasting their time.
Yeah, I think that's right. And spinning their wheels and posting content that doesn't perform well, and then they're like, well, I guess I'll just post another and hope that one does well. Don't
Yeah.
analyze why that is. Don't look at their analytics. It's definitely a pervasive thing for sure. One
Yeah.
one thing I want to talk about a little bit is diversifying your revenue streams, because look, first of all, I'm glad that more and more creators, if you're on this stream, I think you qualify for this. Like if you're on the stream, you're curious about this kind of stuff, is like wanting to ensure that not all of the income that you're making is coming from like one particular area. You want to be diversified, right? So if something goes down, you have other areas of revenue that can kind of sustain you. And so I'm curious, like, how do you think about diversification as a creator? I mean, I think, you know, I don't know. I think the best way to kind of insulate your business and just, from the ups and downs that come with, battling the social media algorithms and things like that. Like how do you think about like, how you should be protecting your business from this type of thing?
I think diversifying your income can be the easiest and the most lucrative thing that you can do for yourself. The thing is, when you're interacting with brands and your audience, you really want to come off as someone who knows your stuff, right? But when brands ask you, like, are you also on like this platform, or do you have experience with this? If you find yourself giving lots of no's to those answers, you've realized that you really need to start putting yourself in a position where you can say yes, right? And so the more that you're able to provide and do, the more you can diversify your income. So for example, if you're talking with a brand about like a YouTube video, right? And they're interested in going on Instagram too, but like you have no Instagram presence. You blocked your own income growth there. That's on you. It's your business. You weren't on there. So that comes with the territory. However, if you really want to start seeing growth in other areas, you have to understand that all your eggs cannot just be in one basket, right? So I help busy families find products that they're going to love. And I also help creators reach their goals, right? So those two separate categories both bring me income because those are things that I'm passionate about and I do them both, right? So
Mm,
I make a lot less as a creator than I do helping creators, right? And for you, it might not be that exact same thing. It could be that you're going to help a brand grow their brand, right?
mm,
If you have experience growing yourself, why wouldn't someone pay you to help grow them? You can use
mm,
that to your advantage. You're more than just someone who does one thing. So the moment
mm,
you learn to diversify that, you allow income to come in your life. Like right now, if
mm,
you're not diversifying, you're blocking your opportunities. But you have to remember being a creator is basically a sales job. If you can't sell yourself, if you can't pretty much like bet on yourself that like you're that clutch, like you're that good, you're only taking away from yourself. If you bet on yourself and you don't get anything, you didn't lose anything. You just walked away looking crazy confident in yourself, and everyone's going to remember that, right? So there's no harm there in trying to diversify your income and doing things to help other brands in the process. That's all learning experience. And if everything you're doing, you don't walk away with some knowledge, it was never the right thing for you.
yeah. And
And
I'll
that's just
just
the way that it is.
I'll give you a quick plug here, D, because when I was growing my business, talking about, creators or businesses, creators or brands, right? When I was growing my brand as a creator, I needed help. I was like feeling very overwhelmed. I was feeling very just like stressed out to the max. Doing the newsletter, doing all the videos I'm doing, growing this business. And where's the first place that I looked? My community, right? My audience, the people who have like been following me, understand like, the value that I'm trying to, or the impact that I'm trying to have on creators and the community and things like that. And so it was a very natural evolution for me, especially after Dee went through Brand Deal Wizard, and I saw how seriously she took it, the work she put in, the results that she, I'm talking about you in the third person right now, the results that you were having, that you put in when you went through the program, right? It was like, obvious to me. It was like, let me ask Dee if she'd be interested in like helping me out with some stuff, blogging, helping with the newsletter, like helping with various tasks and things like that as the business grows. And so it's like, I think it's a great example of like when you really dedicate yourselves to something, there are going to be other people, whether it's brands or other creators or whatever it is, who see value in what you bring to the table and your expertise, because you're always further ahead in your journey than someone else, right? And so it's like because let's be frank, like I've hired a lot of people and worked with a lot of people in my life, but not everyone gets what it's like to be a creator. Yeah, see, she's taking the big sip right there because she's right. So it's just like not everyone like can empathize and understand with what you're going through as a creator. And so it's like, that it was like a immediately obvious choice for me to like hire you and work with you and things like that. And so here we are 6 months later after working together, and now you're going to be hosting office hours for the course. So it's like, you never know what things lead to. And it's the same example of like, you're working with a brand, you help them on one deal, you provide some suggestions, you're not charging them. Hey, I'd love to hop on a call. I had some ideas about how I think you could improve your product, improve your marketing, yada, yada, yada. Right. And it's like all of a sudden, maybe that turns into a consulting engagement. Maybe that turns into a full-time job offer. It's like truly, you never know what these things lead to when you open doors for yourself. Right.
Yeah, but you
Yeah.
have to also position yourself to accept the open doors. Like if you have that
Mm.
mindset that I only want to get brand deals, that's
Oh,
my
yeah.
goal, you're probably not going to get the result you're looking for because it's just not that simple, right? And
Yeah.
it just doesn't happen to work just like that, right? Like, yes, it's
Mm-hmm.
possible, but if that's your only goal and you're not focused on, first of all, that's your goal, but like, how are you going to get there? You never
Mm.
thought once about, like, what am I going to do? Should I sit down and make a strategy or a plan? You just have this idea that, like, brand sponsorships are going to be rolling in, but you're not doing anything to make that happen. That's going to be your biggest hump. And like,
Mm.
you really have to take the time to understand how important it is to make goals that are sustainable goals that
Mm.
make sense. Like, just focusing on, if I was just focused on brand deals, I would feel like a failure.
Mm.
Number one, because I don't have brand deals every single month, right? And that could be a hard hit for so many of us because we're counting on at least that one brand deal for that month.
Mm.
My goal isn't just the brand deal. My goal is to build relationships,
Yep.
grow partnerships, have a track record of growing brands. So when I do get my brand deals, I have a lot to put on the table. And when I
Mm.
say my price, it's an investment that makes sense, as opposed to this is a risk that a brand will have to take. It's
Yeah.
harder to invest if you feel like it's only risk and no return, right? So
Hmm.
you have to work on yourself. So when you have those conversations for those brand deals that you really, really want to get, like the goal ones, whether it's like your dream brand deal, you really have to make a plan. You really have to invest time in understanding this plan. And you
Hmm.
have to understand that the goal is to get there, but there are so many other goals I can reach on the way up,
Right.
right? And that's why you need to diversify your income, because you can make a significant amount of money diversifying your income before you work with your dream brand.
Yeah.
And that's just the way that it is.
Yeah, and the thing that I think, a lot of creators, one of their primary income streams is sponsorships, and like you mentioned, it can be very anxiety inducing when you don't like get that one deal that usually get, or you're hoping to get a month, or whatever it is, whatever the cadence is that you're getting. And I think that a lot of creators think that the solution to that is just, I just need to get more deals. I just need to get in front of more brands, and I need to do this, right? But there's actually three components when it comes to getting brand partnerships. There's yes, more deals can lead to income, obviously, right? So it's just larger numbers game. But how can you negotiate for more money? That's another thing that most people don't think about. It's just like, oh, like I don't even really think that that's a lever that I can pull or that I have any control over. But then also more often, getting more brands, more deals, more often, or more brands, more money, and more often, right? So it's just like those are really the three main levers that you have control over. And that really is one of the major reasons why I created the Brand Deal Wizard program, is because of, you have control over all three of those things, whereas most people think that you don't have control over any of those things, right? So I
Yeah.
think it's really critical to think about how, like, even if you're diversifying your revenue streams, there are aspects of these different things like sponsorships that you do have control over, and it behooves you to like improve your skills in all those areas, because that will directly lead to you making more money. So
Yeah.
I wanted to clarify that, because I think that so many, again, it comes back to control. A lot of creators feel like they just don't have the control. It's out of their control whether the brand wants to work with me, how much the brand wants to pay me, yada yada yada, right? And so it's just like, I think that's like a big myth that needs to be dispelled.
Yeah. You definitely have control over all the things you do to get to your goals. Like, no brand controls how you reach your goals. You do,
Mm,
right? So if your ultimate goal is to have consistent brand deals rolling in every month, so you no longer have to stress about like where your money's going to come from, like how are you going to pay for groceries when they're double the price it was like 2 weeks ago, right? Like, you need to double your value in 2 weeks so that they'll pay you what you need to
mm,
survive for the
mm-hmm.
next 2 weeks, right? So you're never complete. You're always a work in progress. The more time you spend trying to better your creator journey and learning more along the journey, the more you get to gain after. You never lose anything in the process. You always gain. And you have to have that mindset where you're allowing yourself to give yourself grace and to give yourself the opportunity to shine. If you block your success, I mean, no one else did it but you, right? So why not learn a little more? Why not get a few more experiences under your belt? Why not wake up a better creator tomorrow than you were yesterday? Why not do that? What's stopping you from doing that? And once you figure that out, it just becomes so easy.
Oh my goodness, D. Gems, just like endless gems falling out of your mouth. Seriously though, no,
I
I
kind of
really,
learned from this guy. I swear he's like the best. And
yeah.
once I learned from him, I just became so knowledgeable. Like, it's this weird
Oh
thing
my
called
goodness.
YouTube, and it
Yeah,
just happened.
exactly. One thing I wanted to ask about was about converting gifted partnerships into paid partnerships, because I think that that's a big hang up for a lot of creators. Can you share how you approach brands who say they don't have a budget?
When brands approach me and say that they don't have a budget, there's several ways that you can go about it. Number one, you have to stop thinking about it as just this brand saying that they don't have a budget, and think about, does this brand align with what you want to do? First of all, if it doesn't align with what you want to do, you really don't need to think about what budget they're offering you, because first, it's not the right opportunity for you anyways. Now, if you do like look at that and you decide, you know what, this brand is a brand that I would want to work with, and we would make a good collab effort here. Like, this is going to be something that I'm looking forward to, and I think that there's going to be success. It is your job as a creator to share and help that brand see that value that you can offer. So you can go about it in many ways. You can be very black and white and say, contact me back when you have a budget, but that's not going to build a relationship. So you have to understand that if you say that, you're blocking the opportunity to build on that, because it was kind of like a generated response. Like, you didn't even care enough to talk to them back, because all these people you're communicating with are actual people with actual lives who are actually trying to do their job. And it's your job to try to harness some sort of relationship with that brand. That way, it's much easier to build a relationship and then ask for payment, as opposed to walking up to someone in the blind and saying, pay me, I'll do this, right? So the way I always unlock a gifted op into something that pays is to build a relationship. It's much easier to invest with someone that you trust. Think of it on a risk factor, right? Like, brands always look at risk. Is there a risk here if we do this thing? Is there like low risk? They need to know these things. So if you can provide some sort of feedback to them, or some kind of ongoing conversation, whether it's you're checking in regularly, or, maybe you did get a sponsored post and you were paid, for example, like $100, and you want to change that free product or $100 into like $1,000, you'll have to come back with something other than the idea that you were paid $100 for. It has to be bigger and better, and the idea has to be way more strategic, and it has to actually show value. That's how you're going to switch it around. So you really have to understand the words that are being used in the conversation. You really have to make sure you're saying the right words, and you really need to make sure that you understand their goals so you can help them get there. If you can help a brand reach their goals, it's very unlikely they're going to say no to the investment.
Yeah.
That's what you need to figure out. That's that's the sweet spot. That's how you get them to say, I've talked to 10 creators. None of them has brought this idea up. Can you hop on a call? I want to hear more about this. That is so much more powerful than, sure, contact me back when you have a budget. I'd love to talk then.
Oh my gosh.
See the difference there?
Not only that, how powerful that is. I think what a lot of creators think when a brand responds, there's a bunch of different ways that brands respond. And it all sounds like we don't have any money to a creator, right? It's like, oh, we'll send you a gift card. Oh, join our affiliate program. Oh, join our ambassador program. Oh, the product's already expensive. That should be sufficient, right? Like you hear all those things as a creator, and it's just like, oh, they just don't have a budget. Like, you hear the same thing, when in reality, they're very different things, like all those things that they're saying. And, it's actually something that I covered in my Gifted to Paid workshop a few, like last month, is that there are literally different things that you should say based on all those scenarios. And I think, like you said, it comes back to being strategic and understanding, okay, well, if the brand thinks their product is expensive, let me illustrate to them why and how I know that my audience is affluent and they buy expensive things and buy expensive products. So it's like, you really do want to access my audience, Mr. Brand or Mrs. Brand, because look at all this quantitative and qualitative data that I have about my audience. This is the exact persona of person who purchases a $800 wine fridge. I just did a TikTok about my $800 wine fridge, so it's on top of mind, right? But it's like, there's a certain, like, that brand has a certain consumer in there. It's funny. Like, let me give you a little quick behind the scenes of like how these brands think, is that a lot of these big brands, especially brands who are making consumer products, they will create a actual person, okay, in their mind. And they give it a name, they person a name. It's like, this is Sally. She is 32. She has 2 kids. She lives in this place. Like, she lives, her home is worth this much. Her income, household income is this much, right? They do this. They create this person, and then they like put it all around the walls of the office or whatever, right? And so it's like this, and then basically the whole exercise is to help all the employees, everyone who works at the brand, realize that this is who we're serving. This is the customer. It's one thing to be like, oh, we serve millennial moms or what. No, it's like they put a face to the name. And so every time you're trying to make a decision as a brand about marketing objectives or product development or whatever it is, they look at Sally. Okay. And so you could do the same thing as a creator, is like, understand like who are the types of try to understand, make a reasonable assumption of who this brand is trying to target. And then if you can illustrate to them why your audience is the perfect fit for that, it's going to unlock so many things for you as a creator. So I think
Yeah.
what you're saying is absolutely right, Dee.
Yeah, I mean, I've had so many times reached out to brands, like pitched them, got the right contact, like everything is working out great. And then I'm sure like that was like the best message I can send, like fully believing in myself, like they're definitely gonna say yes. And then they come back and they're like, oh, great, we're so happy that you're interested. Sign up for this affiliate program. And this is the process, right? So instead of taking that opportunity as a closed door, you can respond in a way that is going to attract them to want to continue the conversation about whatever it was that you were reaching out for. So it could say something like, I'm so excited about this affiliate program. I'm going to take a look. In the meantime, I've put together these ideas of things that I think would be beneficial based on your target audience and what my audience is looking for. Take a look at this while I take a look at that, and let's talk, hop on a call, whatever. Like, that is a much better approach than just allowing the door to just slam in your face,
Oh,
right? Like that,
look at
you
that.
have to always remember that there's steps. Everyone else has strategies, so you need to have them too, right? Like
Mm,
their strategy is everyone wants to be interested. Can you imagine there's probably like 500 emails a day
yep.
from people who want to work with them? Are you going to spend all that time responding to all 500? No, you take a few, you respond this way, you respond that way, you see who responds back in a certain way, and then you go from there. You have to remember
Mm,
they have strategies too, right? So if their first response was an affiliate deal, you have to remember they didn't have to respond. So now that
mm.
they did, what kind of value can I bring without shutting out what you said to me? So you said affiliate program. Now I'm responding about your affiliate program and adding value. That's going to get a response versus thank you so much. Please keep me in mind, right?
It's night and day. It's truly night and day, and I think that a lot of creators get mad about this type of thing. It's just like, oh, this brand doesn't respect me. They just want me to join their affiliate program, blah blah
Yeah.
blah. But like you said, if you're objective about it and understand, like, how can I actually bring this brand heightened value? Like, it's going to totally change the game. You look at yourself as a business. They're running a business. How can you create kind of a mutually beneficial partnership for each other? And I think that that's just a total unlock. Well, one thing I'm curious about. Is I know that it's a lot of creators' goals to quit their 9 to 5 jobs. Not everyone, but a lot of people have this, um, you know, broad vision down the line, someday on the horizon, or maybe it's the end of the year, whatever it is, that they want to be able to quit their 9 to 5 job and sustain themselves from the income that they make from being a creator. So, um, this is a pretty scary decision, I think, for a lot of people. Not only is the jump to going full-time scary, that initial like actually doing it, but then also it's like a separate scary of like, okay, well, how long can I make this work for? Right? It's like I don't know if I'll be able to do this forever. Right? Is
Yeah.
that sustainable? Um, so curious, like, what are your thoughts of creating an income stability for yourself as a creator? Like, how do you think about that and not just like wake up with cold sweats in the middle of the night?
I basically I have a major goal, and then I have like minor goals before I reach like that major goal. So my major goal, and I'm going to be very open and honest about this, I want to earn a full-time income as a creator in 2022. I took 5 minutes out of my life to make a plan to get me there. And within the first month, I am like really far along my plan. The reason being is because if you really, really want to quit your 9 to 5 job and make your life as a creator the one that's going to be lucrative and you're not going to have to worry about money, like you actually have a full-time income steadily coming in, like you're secure or feel secure in that moment, you really, really, really have to take that time to make that plan. So each thing that you do leads you to that plan. You can't have a plan, have it open in space in the clouds, and expect it to just come down to you. You got to figure out, like, there is my plan. I'm looking up in the clouds. I'm daydreaming. I'm wishing. I'm manifesting the life out of this, and I'm not getting anywhere. it's probably because you didn't take a step to get there in the first place. So try out that strategy, try to set a plan. Look, I took 5 minutes out of my time, and in 1 month I've seen a transformation on my growth online. It doesn't
Wow.
take much. All it takes is for you to be yourself and to understand who you are, what you want to do, how are you going to get there? Not what am I going to do when I get there? When you get there, you kind of need to know what you're going to do. So you have to figure out, how am I going to get there? How am I going to make this work? What is this going to look like? What can I actually do? If you don't have answers for your own questions for that, you probably haven't given it enough thought, because you need to be able to answer that so you can work towards that. So like my goal for this year is not to work harder. I mean, who wants to work harder? My job is hard enough as it is. Like, being a creator is probably one of the hardest jobs, besides being a parent, that you can do in your life. And I say this because I have 2 kids, right?
Yeah.
So it's a really hard job. It's trying, and it's one of those jobs where if you don't put in the work, you're not going to see the results, right? So you really, really, really have to take that time. Make sure you have answers to those. If you can't answer your own questions, you shouldn't be talking to anyone, because you're not going to be able to understand the questions they're asking you, and you're not going to be able to have questions and answers to ask them back and to give them, right? So know enough about yourself where you can talk about yourself to someone else. If you can't know enough about yourself to bet on yourself and to be your biggest cheerleader, and to just know that even though you're not there right now, my plan is so legit. Watch me. That's what you
Whoa.
have to like.
Look
That's
at
what
that.
you have to do. That's your 5-minute strategy.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to know what that means. So you have to take those minutes, that time, to figure it out. What works for me? What doesn't? What makes me happy? What doesn't? When your content is doing great, it's almost always going to be at a time that you really enjoyed what you were doing, because
Yeah.
that cannot be faked. It's not something that you can act. It's not something that you can trick people into. It's just like, if you feel you're successful, people are going to want to be around successful people. If you're not a successful brand as yourself, other brands are probably not going to want to take that risk to partner with a brand that's not successful. When you go down, I'm going down, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, tell me about it. That is a
like,
thing,
we're
though.
holding hands through this,
That's a
right?
thing,
So
though.
like,
Like,
you really, really have to
totally.
understand that if you want that success, you have to be success, because it's really hard to fake something that you have to prove. And the success is not, I mean, there's so much fakeness going on online that you don't need to feed into that. All you got to do is to just provide proof that you're as amazing as you say. The only way to do that is to make like amazing content and increase your knowledge, so that you always know, like, this is what all the other people are doing that's working for them, right? And like, when it doesn't work for you, you have to remember, not what works for everyone else is going to work for you. So if it didn't work for you, try looking at what you did and seeing what can you do differently, because oftentimes it's not that you have to do something completely different. It's probably because what worked for someone else didn't work for you, and you got to put your own little, you got to put your own little something in it, right?
Yes, that's exactly right. And the thing that you said, which really resonates with me, and Hannity actually mentioned here, I want to highlight this again real quick, is that she said, yes, we have to take actions to get closer to our goals. We can't get anywhere if we don't actually take the proper steps in action. Like you said, people think that it's just going to kind of fall down from the heavens and right into their lap, and that's going to happen. And
Yeah.
I'm here to say, like, unless you are making, I wrote an email about this recently, like, unless you are making sub goals, that I call them, right, to get to your larger goals, it's all going to feel like it's a journey of 10,000 steps, and you've never taken the first step, right? And so it's like, you have to break down your goals. We've talked about a lot of different types of goals today on the stream, but it's like, unless you actually sit down, like you said, make a 5-minute plan, make it whatever it is, you sit down and actually quantify, like, what would it actually take for me to get there? it's going to be very, very
Mm-hmm.
difficult for you to do it. And you're probably going to get burnt out because you're going to feel like you're making no progress towards it at all. And so it's
Yeah.
just like, why
You
am I
need
pumping
those
on?
wins.
Yeah, you need the wins. Why am I pumping out this content? I'm not seeing the wins. I'm not getting the deals. Like, especially with respect to like actually quitting your job. It's again, one of the reasons why I created Brand Deal Wizard is because you need to feel, especially because sponsorship is such a big part of most creators' businesses, you need to feel like there is consistency there, that you have a sponsorship pipeline that you can rely on, that you've got brands in all these different stages of the negotiation process, some in discovery, some in negotiation, some in production, some in posting, some in waiting for the money to hit your bank account, right? So it's like, unless you have brands at all those different phases, it's always going to be super lumpy and up and down, and you're never going to feel like you have a consistent income from working with brands. And so I want to answer some questions. If you guys have any questions in the chat, drop it in there. This is your time to talk to Dee. But by the way, if you join Brand Deal Wizard, you'll be able to talk to Dee directly in office hours every single week. So definitely,
Yes.
if that's something that is
And
exciting for you, yeah.
yes, and if you have any questions about the course, I'm answering questions on video ask. So Justin,
Yes.
can you drop a link and I
Yes,
will
I
give you a
will.
video response like as soon as I can. So if you don't want to ask anything in the chat and you want it to be a little bit more private, we totally get that. Ask me a question
Yes.
privately and I will respond to you directly.
Let me actually show you. I'm going to share a screen so they can see this. So if you just go to branddealwizard.com, let me pull this up right now while it's loading. Let me make sure this is loading. Oh, there we go. I was in my admin mode for the course, so I couldn't see your ask. Let me pull this up. It's not pulling up right now, so I think it's just still loading while I'm on the stream, and it's very slow. But yeah, basically, if you go to branddealwizard.com, oh, here it is. Okay, it loaded. Just took a second. So here you go, y'all. Look at D, right? Oh no, you can't see it because why is the color like very strange for you? Oh, because
I see it.
it's like, hold on, this is weird. Give me a second. Give me a second. Technical difficulties. Here we
What
go.
is everyone having for dinner today? It's No Cook Friday, right, Justin?
I know, for real. Okay, wait a minute. No, it's still not doing it. Hold on. Hold on. Okay, here we go. Boom. There it is. There's D. You see D in the lower here? I don't know why. Does it look neon for you? I don't know why it's looking neon, but there's D.
No, I don't think so.
You can ask, click on that, ask her a question, and she is amazing at answering any questions that you guys have. So video ask, office hours, what else, D? Like we have, okay. We
the
have
newsletter,
I
dropping gems every single week on the newsletter, Justin.
Dropping gems everywhere. Yeah, it's just like, honestly, this cohort 5 is going to be the cohort to end all cohorts, I feel like, because we have more than double the amount of people that we had in last cohort. And I don't even know if we're going to end, like the seats may fill up before we get to February 9th. I don't even know. I wasn't expecting that, but yeah, seats are growing
People
fast.
are ready.
So people are ready.
They're ready
excited.
to learn and earn now. Like that's what you're gonna get from the course. You're gonna learn right away. Like you jump right in and you learn no BS strategy.
Y'all.
And it's actionable. It makes sense. It's easy enough where if you follow the framework, it's going to work. Y'all. And you're gonna leave earning. Like you will leave earning. It doesn't matter how much time it takes. You have so much knowledge. You are going to earn. Like you will earn as long as you apply everything. You've got it. And if you need the extra support, it's here now. Like it's here.
Goosebumps all over here. Seriously, no, I'm so honored and thrilled that you're playing a larger role in helping folks out through the course. D, I'm so stoked about that, honestly. People, you have I learned from you.
I love it.
Like I learned from you listening to you help creators and the perspectives that you bring to it. One of the reasons, well, I don't know if I've ever told you this, Steve, but like one of the reasons why I think it's so valuable to work with you and listen to the advice that you have is that I have been a creator for 12 years. We've been doing this for a very long time. And so by virtue of that, sometimes it's hard for me, like candidly, to have the perspective of it's like, what is it like just starting out? What is it like, doing these first few deals? What is it like continuing to like tons of free product offers. It's like, how do you convert those? So it's like, to have and work with someone like you who is at a earlier stage in their journey as a creator is so fundamentally valuable to me, because it's like, if I am to serve all the creators that I want to serve, I need to like be working with and having people part of the team and helping other creators who have a different perspective than I do. It's like, trust me, I try to like, like have the perspective, and but it's fundamentally different. And so like, having someone like you who can support people like that, it's so
Yeah.
valuable to me. So I'm so,
I can totally relate.
yeah,
I'm in it with you, everybody.
yeah, exactly. So anyways, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in today. I can't believe the hour just flew by like that. If you have any
Every time,
questions,
Justin.
every single time. But thank you, Dee, for joining. This was so valuable. I love hearing your perspective on all this stuff. If you guys have any questions about the course for Dee, just go to branddealwizard.com, hit that little video in the lower right, and she'll send you a video back about the course and things like that. But so appreciative of all of you to join for the live stream today, all the different places all over the world that you're joining. And again, if you're interested in joining Brand Deal Wizard, enrollment ends on February 9th, capped at 50 creators. We are more than 60% filled already. So if you're thinking about joining, definitely grab a slot. We'd love to have you in there. So thanks everyone for tuning in.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Have a good weekend, everyone. Peace.